Hi everyone, I'm Marilyn from Trembling Art. Today I'm going to answer a question a reader submitted to my blog, and she wanted to know what was meant by a split primary palette. So I'm going to explain that to you today. The primary colors, as you know, are red, yellow, and blue. So these colors can't be made by combining any other color. They're pure colors. But each one of these primary colors also has a warm and a cool version. So I'm going to show you, for example. So we have red, and we have a warm, move this, a warm version of red. It's almost an orange. It's so warm. And a cool version of the red. And of course, there's many other colors. It just happen to be the ones I have on hand right now. This one is a bit transparent, so I'm going to add a little bit of white so you can see it better. So this is our warm red and our cool red. And on the color wheel, which I have here somewhere, we'll use this one. Oh, here it is. You can see that this is the red. So a cool red would be like a red violet, and a warm red would be a red orange. So the closer you get to the blue, the cooler it gets. The closer you get to the yellow, the warmer it gets. So we have our yellow. I'll rinse my brush. So our warm yellow you can see is much warmer than this. And our cool yellow tends to lean more towards green. So on the color wheel, as you can, I don't know if you can tell the difference on the monitor or not, but there's definitely a green tinge to this. And now we come to the troublemaker of the color wheel, which is blue. And as I was researching for this video, I went down a rabbit hole of warm blues and cool blues. This is Ultramarine Blue, which, excuse me, most people considered to be warm. And this one is Cerulean Blue, which most people consider to be cool. However, there is a whole group of artists that think the opposite way, that the ultramarine is actually cooler than the cerulean, and the cerulean is the warmer one. So it seems to be like split down the middle of which is warm and which is cool. And my take on it, after reading 2 days of reading all of this back and forth, is color temperature has a lot to do with perception, with your own perception of what's cool and what's warm. And also, cool or warm compared to what? You know, you have a whole range of blues. Like I swatched out all the blues I have. Some are warm, some are cool. Cobalt is probably the medium of all of them. So if you look and compare all these different blues to the cobalt, some are blue, some are cool, obviously, and some are warmer than the cooler ones, if you understand what I mean. Blue is always going to be cooler than any red or any orange. because of the nature of it. It's a cool color on the color wheel. So no matter which way it leans, it's leaning either to a red or an orange, or red or a yellow. So it has to be leaning towards a warmer color. And when you're painting, the temperature a lot of times has to do with what's around it, what's surrounding it, what's making it cooler or what's making it warmer. I know a lot of people are not going to agree with me, but that's how I paint. I don't stick to, okay, you know, ultramarine is supposed to be a warm color, so that's what I'm going to use. If it doesn't fit in my painting, I am not going to use that. I will use something else. The reason that color temperature might be important in your painting is because cool temperatures, cool colors make things recede. Warm colors bring them forward. So if you're painting a landscape with, you know, distant mountains, distant trees, you want it to be a cooler color to make it recede into the back. The same way if you're painting a field of poppies, red poppies. The red poppies in the front will be a much warmer red than the ones in the back. So the ones in the back will recede and the ones in the front will pop out. The other thing is color mixing. And, you know, people say it's important when color mixing to know which is warm and which is cool. Personally, I think for a beginner, the warm and the cool thing is confusing. For a beginner, it's much more important to understand the color bias behind each color. The ultramarine has a purple tinge. So if you wanted to make a green and you add your yellow into the ultramarine, you're actually adding all three primary colors. So you're going to get a dull green or even a brown. So you're better off using a color that has, if you're going to mix a green, a color that's leaning towards green. So if you think cerulean here, sorry, leans more towards the yellow, then use that one to make your green. Don't use the ultramarine. And that's why it's important to know color bias, more so than color temperature, I think, in my own personal opinion. Anyway, that's all that's meant by split primaries, is that each primary has a warm and a cool side. And my advice is to take the colors that you have and swatch them out so you can see which is cool and which is warm, which will fit best into your painting. And really, color temperature is just an emotional reaction to the color. Does it make you feel warm? Does it make you feel cold? Does it look like it's making things recede? Or does it look like it's making things come forward? And the more you paint, the more you mix your own colors, the more you learn about colors, the easier it will be for you. Personally, I think learning about split primaries right at the very beginning is probably not the best use of your time. But however, it's nice to know what it is because it's talked about so often. So many artists use a split primary palette. And well, I hope this wasn't too confusing. I think I confused myself. But anyways, always just swatch out, especially when you get new colors, swatch them out, keep them in a little recipe book that I have like this. It's just a cheap watercolor book, and I keep all the mixes that I make, I keep them in here, and I try and write down what they are. But you'll find this really helpful in the long run. Anyway, I really appreciate you watching, and if you liked the video, please click the like button and subscribe. And thanks for watching.